Knee howdy. Folks, I might have picked a bad time to go behind the Great Firewall. There's a lot of news, and I've had a very tough time recording and uploading here. We're having a fantastic trip to China, and there's many, many things I want to tell you about China, good and bad. And I'll do it before I leave, by the way, before you give me, oh, he's scared. I'm actually not, which is one thing that is a bit eye-opening about what's going on here. Many things to talk about. Anyway, I will do that. But I think there are like 4 major news stories that I have just not been able to cover. And I know that for many of you, I am Edward R. Murrow. I am Walter Cronkite, okay? This is the source of truth in the news. A white man in China must give you your news. No, legitimately, there's 4 things we should talk about. If you don't know about them, you probably should. Number 1 is the continuing of the Iran war. Now, obviously, it's been called a military action, not a war, or whatever. It's a war, and it continues to look poor for America and for Donald Trump. I'm American, so I'm not happy with that, to be quite honest with you. Key things, since maybe I've last spoken about it. Donald Trump did a 48-hour ultimatum to the leaders of Iran, which, by the way, are pretty distributed now. Kind of hard to tell who's in charge. Most of the leadership has been killed, and yet the regime remains in power. Difficult to negotiate with. And he said, 48 hours, if you don't open the Strait of Hormuz and allow the oil to flow, which again is causing market panic worldwide, over $100 barrel of oil again, then I will blow up your electricity power plants. I'll destroy the power grid. Now that's, tantamount to a war crime. The amount of people that would be harmed is far beyond just the regime. But it's a serious threat if it came from a serious president. The truth of the matter is, Iran said, if you destroy the power plants, we will destroy desalination plants and power plants of all the Gulf states around us. Trump, under pressure from these Gulf states, has no cards here. If they are attacked, first of all, it destroys U.S. security guarantees, which is kind of the underpinning of them transacting in dollars and their partnerships with America. And then 2, the chaos would spread even farther. The market panic would be spread even farther. So there's no real escalation here. Iran's leadership has nothing to lose, and Trump has a lot to lose. So his 48-hour play looked empty. It looked like a paper tiger. Turns out it was. And in a very predictable thing, I think we did predict it on Lemonade Stand, which is not up yet, but it's recorded before. Very predictably, he comes out and says, oh, you know what? I've had some great negotiations. I think we're really moving towards peace. I'm gonna delay the 48-hour. I'm not gonna go ahead and destroy them. And then Iran comes out and says, we didn't talk to you at all. There was no negotiations. And so, listen, it's funny on the surface, and I am laughing, and I've laughed at a lot of things Trump does, but I do think the Iran war, for me, as you can see from my videos probably, feels different. It's such a fuck up. It's such a colossal fuck up. And the signal it sends is similar to what I talked about before with Britain and the Suez crisis in '56. What it does is it sends the signal that emptiness of the threats, emptiness of the power, emptiness of the ability to get the strategic goals you want. The truth is, the only goal of America right now in Iran has boiled down to one thing: get the Strait of Hormuz open. Now understand this, it was open before. Like, we've spent billions of dollars a day. We've caused this national chaos, global market panic. We've caused deterioration in the standing of the United States among its allies. We've had to pound our table and ask allies to come help us in Hormuz and be denied. And now the goal is just to get what was already there before. Here's where it gets worse. Okay, Iran has now realized, with nothing to lose on their side, they've taken advantage of this leverage. And now they have basically turned the Strait of Hormuz, this tiny little 20-mile wide thing, they've turned it into a paid toll booth. Instead of just being fully open or fully closed like it was before, like those are the 2 possibilities, they've now created a payment system where you can pay them a few $1 million. It's like $1 per barrel is what it averages out to. So for a ship that's going to make a lot of money getting through and doesn't want to sit around, it's worth the cost, but it makes a ton of money for the Iranian regime. Oh, and here's the thing. The money has to be paid in yuan. Welcome to China, folks. Now, I don't know if you've heard about the petrodollar. The the thing that's underpinned global finance for the past 60 years, the idea that oil from the Middle East specifically, must be transacted in dollars so that you can have dollars to recycle back into US treasuries and keep our debt going. Iran is forcing anybody from any country that wants to get their ship out, that's not American, they want American ships, to pay a fee, a ransom fee in yuan. That means something. We're only a few days into this. That means something. And the longer this goes on, the real scary thing is that this toll booth never goes away. Do you know what I'm saying? If the Iranian regime isn't taken out, then all of a sudden we've gone not only back to the status quo, maybe with America looking defeated, we've gone from fully open Strait of Hormuz to a permanent, financially enriching toll booth for Iran forever, all paid in yuan that helps underpin China's fiscal dominance. Yes, dude. Good job, Big T. So yeah, that's crazy. Again, that's not the first story I want to be talking about here in China, but it is the biggest story in the world right now, and it's crazy. Jump cut, 1,000 miles away, I'm in Shenzhen now, and I want to continue my discussion on Iran. I didn't mention one thing last time, and that was the absolute record level, truly record-setting level of corruption regarding insider trading. Now, there's a video by CoffeeZilla, I think, about this. I haven't seen it yet, but I saw the title. The very simple high level is that right before Trump backed off on his 48-hour ultimatum, massive, like billion-dollar bets were made on the S&P and on oil markets in the right direction 20 minutes before he made the post. Just very obviously, someone in his inner circle or him himself are utilizing the knowledge of what he's about to say to make absurd sums of money off of the public. Again, we've talked about little here and there, mere million or 100 million level insider trading bets, but it's getting so blatant. People are getting fantastically, absurdly wealthy off of the decisions of the United States president right before he makes them. And it needs to be investigated. People need to go to jail. Just full stop. It undermines confidence in literally everything. Don't worry though, my confidence is already deeply undermined because as an update to the Iran war situation, to put it quite simply, Trump cannot do what he usually does, which is just make a mess and walk away and declare victory. He can't do that because it will leave the Strait of Hormuz in the hands of Iran, charging a toll in yuan to all US ships and their allies. It makes all of the Gulf states who have made US security guarantees wonder what the fuck they're getting out of it. Undermines the dollar. I mean, they can't stomach it. So when you can't go that direction, which is his normal path, it leaves very few options. And the one that they seem to be going for is escalation. There's confirmed and unconfirmed reports of troop movements into the Middle East. CNN confirmed 1,000 paratroopers are not yet deployed, but being deployed to the Middle East. And then 14,000 more regular troopers is what I saw. So it's seeming that the next step is boots on the ground. This may have happened by the time you see this video, which is an extremely dangerous escalatory next step. And the goal seems to be now regime change or bust because they have so few other options. But again, regime change in a country of 90 million is looking a lot more like an endless war in the Middle East. American soldiers dead. Again, some have already been injured. Missile strikes happened today, hit a military base. It's just not looking smart, shockingly. The feeling I get about when I look at these headlines, like 1,000 paratroopers being ready to be deployed, this reminds me of early COVID. I'm reminded of early COVID when you would hear headlines like, oh, there's a virus in China. Oh, China shut down air travel. You hear these early things and people downplayed it and markets downplayed it. And then Tom Hanks got it and it became real. Everything is being priced like this is all gonna clear up in 1 to 2 weeks and it's back to business as usual in the Strait of Hormuz. I'm taking the under. It just reminds me so much of early COVID. I think people are mispricing the risk. Here's what's about to happen. If it doesn't open up very soon, and I'm talking about a week or two, maybe 10 days. We have a very limited window of time now. There's a contract, a line in most contracts called force majeure. Force majeure is the idea of an act of God, basically. Something happened out of our control completely, so I cannot fulfill the contract and you can't sue. Every oil company that was contracted to deliver oil to a refinery is gonna declare force majeure in their contracts. And there's gonna be a legal battle to try and figure out, hey, you owe me this, I paid you for the oil, you haven't given it to me. But then at the same time,
all the refineries are going to declare force majeure on the refined oil they promised because they can no longer fill that into the contract. Fertilizer companies are going to declare force majeure, and then the companies downstream that need the fertilizer to plant are going to declare force majeure. There's going to be a contractual wave of defaults, essentially, that is going to ripple out through the economy from everything that people cannot get delivered through the Strait of Hormuz. We are, again, like, I'm not kidding, 9-10 days from that. If this has to get cleared up so quickly, and I'm saying best case scenario, everything goes perfect. A screaming eagle flies down and lands on Trump's shoulder and it all works out great. Troops land in Iran. The people rebel. The regime is overthrown. They co-create an Iran-American prosperity. They changed, we talked about today, changing the name of the Strait of Hormuz to the Strait of Trump. I'm saying, even if that all goes well, is it going to happen in 10 days? You've heard me say it enough. I've rarely made multiple videos on a topic like I have what's happening in Iran. But the truth is, however big you think it is, I feel like it's bigger. I truly think this is a history turn moment. I think it's the destruction completely of Trump as a political force. And I think it's a huge iceberg that that America is hitting, to be honest. Of course, I'm very hopeful for my country, and I'm very hopeful that I have belief that we can get this stuff changed and figured out long term, but the short term and medium term impacts of this are astronomical, to be honest. I think underpriced. Right now, the second story I want to say is about OpenAI. OpenAI, you may have heard, canceled Sora. Sora was the short-form AI slop video generator. Now, if you go back and read the blog post announcing it, this is pretty funny, because that was only a few months ago when they talked about this big paradigm and what they were going to do and the cool ideas and how this is going to impact the future of social media and video, and it's all dead instantly. And because it was extraordinarily unprofitable. Generating AI video at scale is a hugely money-losing enterprise right now. And especially when people aren't even watching it on your app. They are generating it, then ripping it, and then putting it on TikTok or putting it on Instagram. Like they were just a free meme generator for no money. Which, by the way, I said right at launch. And of course, it was correct, and they deprecated it. So there's been two schools of thought on this. One is the OpenAI narrative, which is that, hey, we have an incredible new model coming and we need all the GPUs and server space we can get to serve that model. So we're, unfortunately, despite how great Sora is, we're moving everything over to that. Bit of bullshit. They might have a cool new model, but Sora is a flop, just completely dead. There's no other reason than that's why it's a flop. Second thing is people are saying, oh, well, this is it. The AI bubble's bursting. This is the beginning. I'm more amenable to that, though I do think these people are they're just hopeful for a world that will not exist. I don't know how to say it to you. Especially being here in China, bro, the level of AI adoption here is crazy. Especially generative AI, just to be honest with you. I'm seeing AI video everywhere. Every third video on social media, I'm seeing it on the train. I'm seeing it on state media. I'm seeing it everywhere. It has been so adopted. I'm seeing AI posters in subways everywhere. We met a guy who told me with great pride, he's like, my son is a marketer. Here's his video of an AI generated clothing video that he did for a clothing brand. It's everywhere here. And more importantly than just the generative part is that they talk about it here like, even people that are against it are like, what can you do? We have to, the level of adoption is crazy. And I'll talk about it more in the China video I'm working on. That being said, despite agreeing that this is a transformative technology that is here to stay in some form or another for our lives, it seems like, I can promise you that I disagree that OpenAI is something that is transformative and here to stay. OpenAI is very, very much seeming like a financial nightmare, which, by the way, this is a larger financial bubble of AI, 100%. OpenAI is not only deprecating Sora, it's canceling its raunchy sex chatbot it was working on, try to make money. All of its little attempts to try and make money, it's cutting them all back, and it's going all in, last ditch, on business clients, essentially, to try and compete with Anthropic, which is the one that's actually making money off business clients. That's where the real money is. So it's this neck and neck hunt for that real profit center. The level of desperation is just emanating off of OpenAI, off of the tweets, off of the posts, even Claude, which, by the way, Anthropic doing rather well with business clients and, public sentiment after the Pentagon thing. Anthropic is throttling its paying users. They're cutting back on the amount of time. Listen, currently, all of this is money losing. All of this generative AI is money. It costs so much to run the GPUs, way more than even they charge you if you're a paying customer. So that is going to lead to some sort of reckoning sooner rather than later, it seems, based on the pace of OpenAI. I don't know where it'll go, but I do know closing Sora is a sign of something. Last story, Ukraine. I think I just wanted to say really briefly that I'm incredibly impressed by what Zelensky and Ukraine have managed to do. Truly. Listen, the Iran war has been a huge windfall for Russia. The increasing oil prices has given a lifeline to what was really a sputtering Russian war machine. The amount of extra money they can make off of oil is a huge boon to Putin. However, the cumulative impacts of manpower loss and economic damage to Russia are mounting, and they are staggering. And Ukraine, in response to oil being their lifeline, has successfully struck multiple oil refineries and oil shipping. They're defying the odds in a way that I think is super impressive. And at the same time, their expertise they've developed over these years of warfare in drones, specifically in anti-drone warfare and drone warfare, is suddenly the hottest demand in the Middle East. All of the Gulf states are desperate for this knowledge and willing, unlike America, I guess, to actually pay for it. And so Ukraine has found a rather lucrative lifeline of their own, selling training and anti-drone technology and anti-drone help to Gulf states who are being struck by Iran. And they're getting more off of that than they're getting from, again, America, who should be one of their closest allies. I find our inability to be a staunch supporter of Ukraine a great disservice. And I've just been impressed with what they're doing, and I want to stand on that. Even though, to be honest, they're pretty big fans of Russia here in China. Just being honest. Yeah. So what else did I want to? Those are the main stories. Look, I'm having a great trip here. I have a lot I want to say about China, and I'll probably record a video about that right after this or soon after. But missed the stream, missed the Big A clips, miss you guys. Thanks for putting up with my second vacation this year. But this was a very eye-opening trip. We got to do a lot of very interesting interviews, and I'm looking forward to talking about it more. If you want to hear, this is a little bit of a shill plug, but if you want to hear me and Aiden walking in a park talking about communism, capitalism, Deng Xiaoping and all that, we recorded a pretty great video that's going to go up on the LS Patreon, and then a bunch of other great stuff there. So anyway, check that out. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you in the next clip, and a lot more when I get back. Peace.